Well, welcome to Copenhagen.
Thank you so much.
Do you love the weather here?
I love it.
Well, sometimes the sun is shining.
I've seen it. It has come out once or twice.
Okay, that's wonderful. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I'm from the city of Vancouver. I'm part of our delegation here in Vancouver, in Copenhagen. I'm an urban planner. I work on climate change, economic development, and climate change displacement and adaptation.
You were talking about climate crisis and refugees, and you have some experience on that you're bringing here to the C40. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. When we talk about the climate crisis, I think there's a recognition increasingly that the impacts of climate change are so incredibly widespread, right? We have ecosystems that are challenged, we have livelihoods that are impacted, we have buildings and cities. There's so many ways in which climate change impacts our lives. But one of the areas that I think is often underlooked or understudied is how climate change, because of these varied impacts, is causing people to either lose their homes or have to move from their homes for a whole variety of reasons. And some of these are really obvious, like your home is being impacted by sea level rise and the water's coming in and you just can't stay there anymore. And some of them are really quite distant, quite challenging, where you have, say, you come from a community that relies on hunting or farming, and you can't do that anymore. You may decide that it's too hard to stay there and you may need to move somewhere else. So, that displacement, whether it's moving semi-voluntarily or you literally can't stay there anymore, that's a huge challenge that we're just starting to grapple with. And I'm starting to see a little bit of that coming up in conversations here at C40. I'm here as part of the City of Vancouver delegation, but I'm also a youth leader in the climate world. And
yeah, you are young. How young are you?
I'm 28. I'm on the old end of young, I guess, but I still go to a lot of youth climate events. Last year I was a youth delegate at the Global Climate Action Summit. I consider myself on the tail end, I guess, of this new generation of climate leaders, and I'm so grateful to be able to look up to people like Greta Thunberg.
I'm honored to meet you.
Thank you. I was at an event last night for an organization that was born out of C40 called the Carbon Neutral Cities Alliance. And it's an alliance of cities that are the most ambitious on climate change. There are less than 100 cities in the world that have made a commitment to be carbon neutral by 2050. We have more and more countries that are coming on board, but the number of cities is still quite small. And looking at that group of cities, some of the most progressive, the most ambitious, I think one of the most important factors there is culture. There's a culture of sustainability, there's a culture of believing that nature is important, that our responsibility to the planet is important. And I see that in Copenhagen, I see that in Vancouver, I see that in New York City. People are coming to this dawning awareness. And then they're pursuing things like decarbonization of buildings and taking all these really game-changing measures. But it starts with culture, I think.
Do you see private and public partnerships taking place there?
Yes. And I think coming to Copenhagen, I've been so inspired by the relationship that the city and the government here have with Danish industry. I was visiting State of Green and seeing all the work that's being done by companies like Danfoss, for example. It's really amazing that there appears to be this real coming together now of cities and businesses. C40 is launching the Cities and Businesses Climate Alliance. All of that coming together means that we have more hands to do all this work that we need to. And we're starting to see that in Vancouver too. We have a really incredible community of businesses driven by purpose. We partner with them a lot to help our business community become more climate friendly and contribute to this big fight. But yeah, there are so many new partnerships that are developing. It's impossible to keep up with them all, but we've been very inspired by what we saw in Denmark.
What are the best examples of city-to-city collaborations?
I've been in technical workshops for the past few days, and we have cities coming together to talk about how we count green jobs together and how we are going to pursue clean construction. Just announced at the summit that's been incredibly inspiring is Oslo, Copenhagen, and Stockholm's work on clean construction. Decarbonizing the actual building of buildings, not just what they emit when once they're built, but every step of the way, making them more sustainable. That's an incredible collaboration. New York and the City of London announcing their divestment and investment program that they want to pursue. These are really, they're radical things. They're incredible.
What are your key takeaways from the C40 meetings?
My main takeaway really is that the commitment is here now. We're going to tackle inequality. We're going to tackle climate change together. We're going to do it by learning from all around the world, and we're going to do it everywhere around the world.